Hello all, today we will discuss about the frequency measurement. As we have already talked about the microwave frequency range, it is from 1 GHz to 1000 GHz and no CRO will allow you to measure the frequency which are in the gigahertz. That's why we will opt two methods to find out what is the frequency which is generated by our microwave source. So that's why here we will discuss about the two methods. The method one is the direct method, whereas we are going to use a direct reading frequency meter which will be calibrated in the X band from 8 GHz to 12 GHz, and we are able to find out what is the frequency generated by our microwave source. The second method which we are going to use is nothing but the indirect method, whereas in the indirect method we will use the slotted lamps. Now to calculate the frequency using the indirect method, we are going to do both the things here. We will measure the frequency using the frequency meter and will verify whatever frequency measured by the frequency meter is correct by using the indirect method. So here, as we have already discussed about the relationship of the three wavelengths, here we are going to discuss about the three wavelengths. The lambda 0 is the free space wavelength, lambda g is the guide wavelength, lambda c is nothing but the cutoff wavelength. So 1 upon lambda 0 square is equal to 1 upon lambda g square plus 1 upon lambda c square. Now how we are going to calculate the frequency using the indirect method? So f0 indirect is equal to c by lambda 0. Whereas I need to calculate, or if I want to calculate the f0 indirect, I need to know what is the lambda 0. So how I can calculate the lambda 0? Okay, here if I know the lambda g, I can calculate the lambda 0. What two things I need to calculate the lambda 0? The guide wavelength and the cutoff wavelength. So how I am going to calculate the lambda 0 based on these two things? So lambda c, as we have already discussed about the lambda c is equal to twice ab divided by m square b square plus n square a square. So if I consider this is my rectangular waveguide, so this is rectangular waveguide, this side will be called as the side A and this side will be called as the side B. So here M and N denotes the modes. So here whatever mode we are using in our lab is nothing but the TE10 mode. So if I put the values of M as 1 and N as a 0. ठीक है. So whenever I put these values, the lambda c which I am going to find out here is nothing but the c. This will be the lambda c. So lambda c is equal to twice ab divided by root b square, means twice ab divided by b. So b will get cancelled and lambda c is equal to a. So as we know, this waveguide will have the longer side as a side A and this side as a side B. So if you measure this side will be 2.2 centimeters. So we'll put this value over here. So if you put the value of B over here, that is 2.2 centimeter, this equation will become 2 into 2.2 centimeter. That is equal to 4.4 centimeter. Otherwise you can convert it into the meter, 0.044 meters. Okay. So this will be the lambda c. Now I understand what is the lambda c. I understand how to calculate the lambda c. We have to find out what is the lambda c here. Now the next value which I need here is nothing but the lambda g. So lambda g is nothing but the guide wavelength. So how I am going to find out the guide wavelength? So the lambda c, I'll write somewhere here that lambda c is nothing but the, as we have already see how to calculate the lambda c is nothing but the 0.044 meters that actually measured and then we have found. Now next one is nothing but the lambda g. So guide wavelength, as we know, as we have seen the definition of the guide wavelength. Suppose this is my waveguide and inside this, say the guide wavelength is nothing but the wave undergoes the transition of 2 pi radians inside the waveguide. So if you are putting, if this is the slotted line, inside this slotted line you will find the voltage standing waves. So if I understand the maximas, I can say this is this and this will be called as the lambda g. So this is what we called as the maxima and this is what we called as the minima. Now how I calculate the lambda g? So this complete is the lambda g. If I understand the difference between two lambda g is equal to 2 into difference between two successive say maxima or minima. So you can write here the difference between two successive maximas will be nothing but the lambda g. Otherwise it will be 2 into difference between two successive minimas. So this is how you can calculate the lambda g. So if I have a slotted line, I can calculate the maximas, I can calculate the minimas, and then you can see what is the lambda g. So 2 into difference between either two successive minimas or 2 into difference between two successive maximas. Now I know the lambda c. By using the practical setup, I can calculate the lambda g, or I can find out the lambda g. So how I can calculate the lambda 0? So I put the value of lambda g over here, I put the value of lambda c here, I get the lambda 0, because 1 upon lambda 0 square is nothing but the 1 upon lambda g square plus 1 upon lambda c square. So lambda g we know, lambda c we know, we can calculate the lambda 0. If I get the lambda 0, I'll put the value, and c, you know, c is nothing but the velocity of light. You can 3 into 10 raised to 8 divided by lambda 0, and you will get the f0 indirect. Now let us see how practically you are going to do that particular things. Okay, as I have already seen, this is nothing but the klystron supply. This is the klystron. Now as we know that whenever you are applying some voltage to the klystron, the beam voltage, this is the beam voltage, this is the repeller voltage. When you increase the beam voltage, it is, see the knobs, this is the beam voltage knob, this is the repeller voltage, this is the selector knob. Whereas if this knob is on this V, means you are observing the beam voltage here. Right now my beam voltage is 234 volts. This is the beam current. It is in the milliampere, so right now it's at 12 milliampere. This REP stands for the repeller voltage, whereas you can see the right now the repeller voltage is 248 volts, and this shows you the off now. Right now we are interested in the, say we will keep the beam voltage constant. Let us say we are keeping it to 50 volt right now. Okay, so we will keep it to 250 volt and it will be constant. So just, and we will keep changing the repeller voltage. Here you can see the modulation technique which we are using is nothing but the amplitude modulation. So R knob is on the amplitude modulation. So these are the frequency and amplitude variations for frequency modulation. But right now we are not using these knobs, as we are not going for the frequency modulation. These are the frequency and amplitude variation knobs for the amplitude modulation. So we are interested right now in these two knobs, beam voltage, repeller voltage. As beam voltage is constant, we are not going to touch it afterwards. This is all about the klystron power supply. So here I am interested right now in the repeller voltage. So as I am changing this repeller voltage, you may see that there is a change in the display voltages. Okay. Okay, as there is a possibility, because this electron, this reflect klystron tube hits, as because of the very high beam voltage, it may happen that your klystron may get damaged, and that's why always your klystron is used with the cooling fans. Always cooling fan must be there. As we have discussed, this is the microwave source. The next is nothing but the isolator. You can see this is the 2-port device. Whenever there is something coming from this side, it will provide a low attenuation, and from this side it will give you the higher attenuation. Next knob is the frequency meter. So you can see here it is calibrated, or you can see the numbers on this particular frequency meter, which works for the X band from 8 GHz to 12 GHz is there. There are 2 vertical markers and 1 horizontal marker. So 2 vertical and 1 horizontal marker. This is the plunger with which you can change this particular marker position. So whenever the frequency coming from this source matches with this cavity frequency, the resonance occurs and you can see the deep on the CRO. So you right now will see what is the frequency which is generated by this particular. Right now I am keeping this on the minimum position. I can see the very fine square wave. I'll just set that square wave to a very nice square wave. So I can observe there is a very nice square wave. So this is the demodulated square wave. Here I can say the microwaves are very nicely generated, and I can see the fine square wave over there. So how I can see the frequency? I'll change the frequency meter knob here. I keep on changing that knob till I'll get the dip. So till now I have not got the dip, but at a particular position I can observe the dip, or I'll observe the dip. At that point I can say that is nothing but the frequency generated by microwave source. So here I am keep on changing the things. Very slowly I am moving. So at a particular where it resonates, it will show me the dips. So till now I am not observing the dip, but here you can see this is the dip, whereas my frequency generated frequency and a frequency meter frequency matches. Okay? So here we can see two markers. Here are the two markers and one vertical marker. Where it crosses, there are two horizontal marker, one vertical marker. So it crosses here at 9.78 gigahertz. So I can say, sorry, it's 76 gigahertz. So this is 9.76 gigahertz generated by my microwave source. I'll write down somewhere that my frequency generated is nothing but the 9.76 gigahertz. So here it will see, okay, you will see the generated frequency. So here I can say whatever frequency is generated f by the direct method is nothing but the f is equal to 9.76 gigahertz. Okay? So I'll note down this frequency somewhere. Now next one is nothing but the variable attenuator. This knob we are going to use right now as whatever we are observing is okay till now. The next one is nothing but the slotted line. After slotted line we are using the detector mount, and detector mount output is connected to the CR. Okay? Now till now we have seen what is the setup, what is the frequency generated by the microwave source. Now we are interested in the frequency which is generated by source with the indirect method. So whenever we are talking about the indirect method, we will connect this probe to the VSWR, to the slotted line probe. As here whenever we will move throughout this line, we are able to see the maximas and minimas, whereas I am getting the maximum voltage will be called as the maxima. As you can set that particular voltage with this plunger. So I am setting it somewhere where I am getting the fine maximas and minima. So this is the minima, and this will be the maximas. Okay? So just a setting is required on here. Let me put setting. Select. Okay? So here I am getting a bit fine square wave. So here okay, fine. So these are nothing but the, so as I am moving it along with the line, somewhere I'll get the maximas. Where I am getting the maximum voltage will be called as the maxima. So it's better for me to take the difference between two maximas. Okay? So I can say this is the maxima which I am observing right now. So I'll see here. Now you can see one is the moving line, another one is the fixed one, scale, moving scale. So where it matches, that is nothing but the my say first maxima. So where it is matching, yes sir, the first maxima, and successive maxima I'll say the second maxima. So here it is matching to the 11.6, is it? It's 11.6 say second. So again I am moving it on the scale. This is my, I am considering this as my first maximum. I am moving again it on the scale, and then I am trying to observe where I am getting the second maximum. So I can say this is the second maximum. As I have got it 11.6, this I guess it is 13.6 centimeter. Okay. So as we know that the first maxima is at 11.6, second maxima is 13.6. What will be the lambda g? So lambda g is nothing but the 13.6 minus 11.6 into 2. So twice into difference between two maximum. So this difference will be 2. 2 into 2 will be 4 centimeter. If I convert it into the meters, it will be 0.04 meters. Okay. So here again 1 upon lambda 0 square is equal to 1 upon lambda c square plus 1 upon lambda g square. So we have got a lambda c square as 0.044 square plus 1 upon 0.04 square. So after calculation we'll find that lambda 0 is, this is 1 upon lambda 0 square. So for lambda 0 is equal to, so this calculation, I need a time to calculate this one. So here you can see. Okay. So here the calculations will be like this. So here they have observed it as 2.1. We have observed it as a 2 only. So 0.042 meters. So lambda 0 they have calculated is nothing but the 0.006 meters. Now lambda 0 is known to you. Okay. So how you will calculate the f? So f is equal to c by lambda 0, means 3 into 10 raised to 8 divided by 0.036. So whatever comes here, frequency is equal to 10 gigahertz, and whatever we have observed is nothing but the 9.76 gigahertz. Okay. So this is our direct method and this is our indirect.